Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to take a look at a Pathfinder third-party book. It's known as Fursona, the definitive guide to creating anthropomorphic characters. Now, I was actually hesitant to review this book because I consider it to be a mixed blessing. Going by what the blurb on the cover says, I wanted to take a look at this book. I have always been a major fan of anthropomorphic character races in fantasy campaigns, science fiction campaigns as well. I like wolf people, cat people, lizard people, turtle people, bird people, you name it, I love them all. I think they're cool. I happen to really like anthro art. I have a vast collection of anthro art images on my hard drive. I've been collecting it for over a decade. So when I saw this product and it was for the Pathfinder game, I was really excited. I'm like, yay! This is something that I figure I couldn't lose. And it was a decent price. It was I bought the PDF, and so I thought I'd delve into it. I looked forward to it. I was very eager to get it, and then I got into the book. And the first thing that hit me was there's no table of contents. That's not a good thing in my book. You need a table of contents. It's something I see as a requirement. I understand you don't want to have an index. Okay, I can deal with that, but you need a table of contents. Now, the book presents 33 separate orders. Now, each order is a basic thing like arachnias, anthropoda, two different kinds of birds, minor and major. Then you've got your cetaceans, like your whales and such. Minor and major dogs, crocodilia, dinosauria, dragons, horses, two different species of cats, major and minor and major. You get the point. There are also some little ones that are a little on the odd side, such as Lovecraftia, Micromonstria, and Xenomorphia. And Lovecraftia is based on Lovecraft kind of weird, freaky, extra-dimensional, non-Euclidean kind of beings. Micromonstria is the ability to play anthropomorphic monsters, like hippogriffs and cockatrices, things like that. And then Xenomorphia is what if you wanted to do completely alien animals that were translated into anthropomorphics. For example, the dogs in the second Riddick movie, they're kind of weird, freaky, scaled canine things. Those could be translated into an anthropomorphic race if you so chose. Now, each of these different orders is broken down into a brief description, appearance, ability modifiers, and because it's Pathfinder, you have an overall +2 to 1. So if you get a +4 to 1 stat, you're going to have a -2 to something else, and that balances out to a total of +2. All the standard Pathfinder races are like that, and this book keeps that feature intact. Then we have racial skills. Not every race, every order gets skills. Enhanced senses. All of them get low light vision. They all have standard movement for being either small or medium, and you can choose for most of the races. Allow you to choose which one you want to play. Some races require you to be a minimum of medium, or possibly going to give you the option of playing large. There's no reason you couldn't play a bobcat that was medium sized or a bobcat that is small. Being medium or small are completely balanced in my book, so you choose one over the other. It's up to you. And then you have alignment suggestions, and this completely turned me off. The concept that any race has an alignment recommendation or suggestion, I think is completely inappropriate. None of the core races have this, with a reason. Alignment has nothing to do with your biological origins. So I would toss that right off the bat. Then they have some suggestions for languages. Not all the different orders get languages. Some do get bonuses, some don't. So these are the basic things that tell you what kind of stuff your order has in very basic, very root means. For example, if you're Anthropoda, the insects, you're going to have some natural armor. You're going to have a specific... For example, you'll have a slower speed, but you have the same feature a dwarf has in this fact that you can carry a medium or heavy load without lowering your speed. You're strong. That kind of thing. And They go through that for 33 different orders. I am not going to go through all 33 orders. There were a couple things that stuck out for me, however. The elephants are not the species with the highest strength rating, and that makes no sense to me. There is no land animal in our world as strong as an elephant. Yes, gorillas are incredibly strong for humanoids. No question asked. The top of the chain when it comes to the apes are the gorilla. But elephants are walking, living, breathing front-end loaders. They should be the strongest species in this book for real-world animals. Other than dinosaurs, which we don't have out here in the real world. They also feel like they have like moths and butterflies, and then they get a +2 dex, perfect sense. They get a -2 strength, perfect sense. They're frail, and they get a +2 wisdom. That makes no sense to me. In all the folk tales I've ever heard about butterflies, wisdom has not been the feature that they've had. They've been pretty. They've been charismatic. They deserve a +2 charisma, not wisdom in my book. And then we get into the racial traits, and there are 2 types of racial traits, minor and major. There are, I believe, 85 minor traits in here, and each has a little brief explanation, and you are allowed to have 4 points, racial build points, and each minor trait costs 1 to 2 points. All major traits are 3 to 4 points. You can also pick up drawbacks, which will get you more points to build with. Now, here's where I begin to really have some issues. All of these abilities, all 85 of these minor abilities, are available to any single animal out there. For example, you could be a grizzly bear that has the ability to lay eggs and lactate. First of all, why you would want to spend character points to be able to lay eggs or lactate at will is beyond me. Then they have something in here about the fact that you have the ability to, how can I put this? Androgynous beauty. You are so androgynously attractive that members of your same sex suffer a penalty when trying to resist your charms. This is a mechanic to justify slash fiction. Then they have one in here, androgynous fertility. A biological justification for members of the same sex having the ability to breed. So 2 males or 2 females. And that has nothing to do with biology, folks. That's just to justify the furry fandom fetish that this appeals to. Now, I'm a big supporter of the furry community. I have no idea why people hate them. I think they're completely nice people. But there are things that I don't want in a gaming mechanic. And slash fiction and the ability to breed at random methods between members of the same sex are things I don't need in my game mechanics. Those are things that are left to role-playing. If you're going to have androgynous beauty, doesn't that mean that all masculine characters should have a bonus against female characters, and all female characters should have a bonus against male characters? It doesn't work that way, folks. That's role-playing. You can either have the skills to pull it off, or you don't have the skills to pull it off. I don't see any justification for a racial ability that lets you do that. And they have a major ability in here, or no, a drawback in here, which is tentacle bait. Yep. You attract tentacle monsters that want to stick their tentacles up your skirt. It's a game mechanic for tentacle rape. That's just insane. Now, the major abilities, and some of them are pretty good, like being able to be large, for example, they cost 3 to 4 points. But if you choose specific races, for example, like really heavy armor if you're a dinosaur or a turtle, you get them at a cost savings, which makes sense because that species has a predilection to that type of physical feature. Now, I would get rid of that feature, give the characters 5 points, but I would make sure that each of the orders only had access to specific abilities. No lactating, egg-laying grizzly bears, okay? I would have to go through every single order and list for every single trait There's 85 minor ones and something like 30-something major ones, of which orders could use those different traits. So I would have to rewrite this entire supplement before I could use it. Or I would have to go through every single step along the way with a player, with the player to build their character, which is a nice one-on-one experience, but it means I can't just hand the book to someone and say, here, build me a character, and then bring it to me to review it. I could not let this book be handed to someone and let them use straight off the bat. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. And that bugs me, because this book had a lot of potential. But it's aimed at the furry fandom fetish crowd. Now that's fine. You want a gaming product aimed at that, write 1,000 of them, I don't care. But this is not advertised as something for the furry fandom fetish crowd. This is advertised as something for a Pathfinder fan that wants to be able to play anthropomorphic races. And in that respect, I think this product is false advertising. It's telling me it's one thing when it's something else. Can I use this? Yes. Will it take major reworking for me before I were ever to handle it to a player? Yes. And if I had wanted to write my own gaming product, I would have. I wanted someone else to do most of the heavy lifting for me, and they haven't. They presented me with some useful stuff, some nice ideas. There's some decent templates in here, for example, though some of them are a little strange. You can play a toon. You can play a virtual reality sprite. The Clockwork one was pretty cool. They had a major ability that lets you play a teddy bear, which is a fetish I don't even want to get near. So this product has some really great ideas in it. The execution, however, leaves a lot to be desired. Now, someone out there in the gaming community suggests that I look at this book. I can't remember who it was. So if you ever see this video, you told me you've seen the beta version of this before this one, so I'd be interested in knowing how it compares to this version. Does the beta version have as many features that feed right into the furry fetish crowd, or is it more generic? Is that something that was translated from the first version to this version, or did it get it added in? I'm curious to know. Now, I love anthro characters. I think they're uber cool. I'm looking forward to looking at the Warlords of the Apocalypse coming out later this year, a Pathfinder post-apocalyptic campaign that's supposed to also have anthropomorphic races in it. So maybe they'll have something in there that I like more. Now, I can use this. It's just going to take a whole lot of work on my part to get it to a point where I would be confident and comfortable handing it to a player rather. So, like I said, it's a mixed blessing, folks. I wish I could say more positive things about it. There's a lot of love in this book. But there's also a lot of love in this book.